Hey, I'm Tim Martin of WallBuilders.
And I'm Elijah O'Neill of the American Journey Experience.
And we are hanging out today over at the American Journey Experience. We do a lot of history between WallBuilders and American Journey Experience. We actually have collectively largest collection of private original documents from early American history, founding era. And actually over the next probably year, we're going to be celebrating, doing some collab videos together of 250th anniversary of all kinds of stuff. But there's also other noted significant moments and events that happen throughout the year that unfortunately, we live in an era where a lot of stories are being told that aren't always historically correct and accurate. And so what we do, American Journey Experience and WallBuilders, we say, let's go back and let's tell more of the honest story. Because like on Juneteenth, people are going to say, well, this is when we celebrate the end of slavery in America. And I'm always like, well, that's not exactly when slavery ended in America.
That's exactly right. Slavery actually ended with the passage of the 13th Amendment in 1865. However, usually when people are referring to Juneteenth, they're referring to General Gordon Granger's order, General Order Number 3, in which he went all the way to Galveston, Texas, and posted the order that the Emancipation Proclamation was to be enforced in the rebellion state of Texas. And that was the first time that African American slaves at that point had heard of their freedom years after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed by Lincoln.
Yeah, and this is because when the Emancipation Proclamation is done, January 1st, 1863 is when it's unveiled. It actually even only applies to the states that are actively currently in rebellion at that moment, but then it's only enforced when Union troops are able to go in and enforce it because there weren't slave owners voluntarily. I mean, some did. Most were not like, I will arbitrarily, voluntarily give up my slaves. No, usually it was Union troops being like, you're done with that. We're not doing that anymore. And because it wasn't until 1865 that the Union troops arrived down in Texas, the last stronghold of the Confederacy, that's why it took so long. And so Juneteenth was a celebration. They find out there's freedom, and freedom is always worth celebrating. That's something that should be celebrated throughout America. When people find freedom, that's great. It is historically incorrect to say this when slavery ended, though, because not only did it not end slavery in America, it didn't even end it totally in the Confederate States, because there were states that when the Emancipation Proclamation was issued, some of those states were already back in Union control, portions of Tennessee, portions of Louisiana. So the Emancipation Proclamation didn't apply to them, not to mention states like Missouri or Kentucky or Maryland and Delaware, places where there wasn't an active rebellion against the presidency, and so slavery was still going on there. It's the reason you needed the 13th Amendment. And we don't say this to be disparaging to Juneteenth or that celebration at all, but what we see oftentimes is there are political motivations, there's academic motivations, and sometimes even from a communist Marxist perspective, to slander America by saying how bad or evil we were because we had slavery without giving context. And therefore, people oftentimes arrive at the wrong conclusions. What we want to do, and you're going to see this a lot throughout the next year, we celebrate a lot of 250th anniversaries. We're going to tell a lot of stories, but we want to always point you back to the original sources and say what actually happened. So on Juneteenth, what actually happened is there was a celebration for people discovering they were free, and there needed to be people help enforce that freedom, which is why there was a celebration of Union troops, and those Union troops were operating under a Republican president, following a Republican platform that expressly was against slavery, and really it was even the fulfillment of some of the early promises of the Declaration.
That's exactly right. When you look at the Declaration, what does it say, right? It says that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. What we see is the coming to fruition of that promise for the slave. And thankfully, we get to celebrate that on Juneteenth.